Right. Welcome, one and all, to the Dreaming in Color podcast. I am your host, Tahirah Banks Webster.
And I am your co-host, Gino Webster.
It is a beautiful Saturday night. It is late. It's 11:45 p.m. But we're so happy that you chose to join us. If this is your first time joining the podcast, welcome. We're grateful to have you here. Thank you for joining. And if you have been here before, welcome back. You've stuck with us. This is episode 5, and we're here. We're still here, Gino. We're doing it.
Still here. Yep.
We're
Still
doing it. We're doing it. So for the newcomers, Dreaming in Color, very quickly, is a community for people who are ready to trade a black and white life for one that is rich and colorful, bold, beautiful, everything you ever dreamed of. And Gino and I, we have spent the past decade. We are partners in business and in life, so we are married as well. Show your wedding ring. Let me. Okay, I'm just making sure you have it. But we spent the past decade building our business from $0 to millions in revenue, and now we are on a mission to create a future where anybody, regardless of their background, can not only pursue their dreams, but they can access the people, the resources, the technology, everything they need to make their dreams a reality. Because no one man is an island, no man or woman is an island. You can't do it alone. You need people. And so whatever those dreams may be, we are here. And that is why we formed this community, to share the lessons we've learned to date in business and in personal, to bring you on our journey. We're at an exciting stage in our journey right now, and to loop you in and to document what is next, what is to come. So welcome.
Welcome.
Every week, I want you to grade the intro. How was that intro?
It was better.
It was better.
Still long, but better.
This is what you call a supportive husband. He said it was better. He's never gonna say it was trash. It was better.
Oh, no, we do with the team Tahirah over here. We don't
Team
do that.
Gino.
Yeah.
Love you for that. Love you for that. So today's conversation is a big one, Gino. This is it's late, and we always end up doing these podcasts late. That's the nature of the game. But this is a big conversation. It's a big conversation. Nobody believes managing doubt and your dreams. And it's a big conversation because both you and I, and most people we encounter, everybody at some point in time has experienced doubt, right?
Right.
And when we were initially discussing it, why we just for the premise of this whole discussion, guys, even before we go into it, whatever your goal is, and we are entrepreneurs, but it doesn't have to be a goal as an entrepreneur. It could be, hey, you want to ascend to a certain place in your job. You want to build a certain house. You want to become a certain type of athlete. You want to go to college, be the first person in your family. Whatever your goal is, any long-term goal will eventually start to feel like a never-ending process, because like consistency can start to feel boring after a while.
Like right now.
Like right now.
Yeah.
And for many of us, for all of us, it wears us down. And when it starts to wear you down, it causes doubt to creep in. And in those moments, we sometimes seek validation, right? That what we're doing even makes sense. So when you're worn down, when you've been going and probably not seeing results, you're being consistent, you're worn down, and you start to look for validation. And what happens when you get to that place can be very tricky, especially if you're chasing a dream, a goal, an idea that no one really believes in. So that's the conversation. You ready?
Ready. Let's go.
Let's do it. Do you know why do we chase acceptance? Well, let me ask a different question. Do you feel like, I know you project as so confident, but do you feel like when you were growing up, was being accepted important to you?
Of course, like who doesn't want to be accepted? My actions, everything I said, you want to be cool. Going through school, you want to be the cool kid. Well, I was a cool kid, so I didn't have any issues there. But disclaimer. But yeah, of course, everyone seeks acceptance. We want to know that people agree with us, right? Or we're on the same line.
Right,
Yeah.
right. We're on the same page. But what's interesting is that I think that we are actually in childhood taught to actually seek acceptance and validation. We are taught to seek the acceptance and validation of our parents. We're certainly taught to seek the acceptance and validation of our teachers with grades, those pesky things that students have to get. You're
Here?
you said parents?
Yeah, yeah. Why? Why the validation of our parents?
I mean, like nobody wants their parent not to like them. Like nobody wants to displease mother or father or like 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 even when we do it, it doesn't feel good. You know, we want to be accepted. Like you told me.
What did I tell you? I was very rebellious. So
So you're saying you didn't seek the acceptance of your parents.
at some point, of course, but when I realized what was happening, you figure it out. Nah, I want to do things my way.
But what do you think was happening?
I know. I think. Actually, no, not that I think. I know that I was exposed to more things, so my mom's word wasn't the end all. So I
That's that's an interesting point. That's a
yeah.
big
So
point.
she'd say A, and I'd say T, and
My
that
boy
is
says he said T.
yeah. So for sure, had a
It,
lot of problems there, but you should experience that. But yeah, but for the most part, you do a little tap on the back, the parents telling you that they're proud of you. It goes a long way.
it matters.
Yeah.
And in school, I mean, I know for sure. I mean, whether it's in school, think about when you're. I remember I was always good at sports. Shout out
Oh.
to being a. I played. I had older brothers, and I
Mhm,
most of my cousins my age were boys, and even my female cousin who I spend the most time with, Farah, she was a tomboy, so I was always playing sports. But think
mhm.
about that, like you don't want to get picked last. Like,
No,
very
no.
short story. I remember I was playing for the national team in Anguilla, the Fire Ants, and they were selecting the team to go to St. Lucia, one of those, the first one, not the blowout
Mhm.
we get from Trinidad, but they were selecting the team, and I remember sitting in the stands, like so fearful because I knew I was not like the best, certainly not in football, like I wasn't the best, but I was very far from the best. Like I was far, far from the best. But like
Thanks for
I
being honest.
remember number seven, number 16 person getting called and me just I wanted my name to be called. It was eventually called, but it was the last name called. And when it happened, I was like, whoo, made it. Okay, I made the trip. But I wanted to be accepted. And I think that
Well, what do
we
you think they chose you to go on the trip?
well, that's a different story. Like I think I was chosen not from certainly not from my talent. I wasn't anywhere near as
I
good as
think I
the
know
other.
why. I think I know why they chose you
Yeah,
though.
I know why as well. I had the right attitude. I had the type
Okay,
of
right. Yeah, and
attitude
you're
of a
you're
teammate.
great at hyping people up,
Yeah, I'm good at
speaking
motivating
life into
and
people. Yeah, for sure.
yeah, so that
Motivation.
and I was doing that from then, first and second form, that kind of thing. So but nevertheless, it doesn't change the fact that when you're growing up, you do seek that external validation. You need to be approved. You need to get
Right.
good grades. If you don't get in Anguilla, let me tell you, that summer before first form, all I wanted to be in was band ones. Let me tell you, if I had got, I was terrified that I would in some way not meet a certain threshold because why? Because of the need for external validation. You see what I'm saying?
Tahira, please. We know that band two is definitely where all the fun happens.
Oh my goodness. I'm not going to debate band one, band two, three, or four.
well, I wasn't band ones, all band ones. I was just
You were
shifting
demoted.
between one and two for maths
My
for
boy
sure.
says
But
shifted.
and then yeah, but I prefer the teacher in band too, so I stayed there. Miss Hillman was a great teacher. I really
That
liked her.
makes sense. You made an adjustment.
Yeah,
So that's a powerful thing because I think when you told me the story, you were like, I'm gonna just go down here because I can learn better here.
yeah.
And you chose to take what in our culture would be seen somewhat as a demotion to a
Mhm.
lower band, uh, because you saw a benefit in learning more. Was she
But
also
if
attractive?
any of my classmates are listening to this, just to know that I could understand my teacher's handwriting. They'll know what I mean by that.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there we go. But like you said, and you touched on it earlier, because we are taught in childhood to be
Mhm.
obedient,
Mhm.
to follow instructions, and
Mhm.
if you are not obedient, if you get bad grades, if you break the rules, if you don't follow instructions, if you want to do something that is different, or if you do something that is different, in many ways you're chastised. And over time, depending on how, I don't even want to say resilient, how hardened you are, depending on how hardened you be, like like
I was hardened.
like
Sorry.
like for some people they just like, all right, I'm gonna just listen. but
Yeah.
but 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 if you're hardened, then you good, like for in adulthood. But if you're
Yeah.
not, if you kind of cave to that,
Mhm.
it can actually create problems. And I talk about, I give the example of, like, well, not give the example, but I think about my niece Samaya. She is very defiant,
Mhm.
and
I love it.
talented in a lot of ways, and I love her. But I see that defiance, and on one hand I'm just like, I would just get, oh, but on
Yeah.
the other hand, I know that that defiance is what will make her stronger in life, because she
Right.
won't be afraid to chart her own path.
Right.
And so we are, in terms of why do we chase acceptance and validation, the first thing is that, well, we're taught to seek that in childhood, you know, in many ways. You
And you know,
disagree?
right? Like I never thought about it that way. It's just you just do what you're told, and then at some point you realize, hey, it's like I don't know if you've seen the movie The Invention of Lying, when he realized that he got away with his first lie, he was just lying
Mhm,
for everything. When I realized
mhm.
that I could
Break the
have
rule.
an opinion, I didn't always do it respectfully, but have an opinion, it felt powerful. And I just kept doing it.
Even when it got you in trouble.
Even if it got me in trouble, I still continue to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, you certainly speak your mind, with with without limitation. So, but that's useful. That's useful, and
Mhm.
we'll get into that in a second. But
Yeah.
what we spoke about this, the dangers of seeking external validation and how that actually shows up in adulthood.
Okay.
And one of the things touches exactly on your point. You said the minute you realize that you could think differently, that basically what your parents were saying, or what your older siblings were saying, or what your teachers were saying, it was not God's law. It was not, like, it, you could literally make a completely different decision and still be alive and be like, okay,
Right.
this works. But what is the flip side of that? The flip side of that we spoke about, being that when you grow up and you have not experienced that autonomy, or you have not practiced that autonomy, because you practice being defiant, you didn't just do that once or twice.
No. No. Right. You soon then, well, you become extremely dependent on seeking or being validated in other ways. And we know the biggest form of validation nowadays is social media.
Yeah, yeah,
Even if
yeah,
you don't get it from your friends or your family, that's the other medium. So
yeah. I think one of the big dangers of seeking external validation, and we see it in adults, and everything we're saying here, I feel like I have experienced to some degree as well, even though I
right.
was extremely defiant and continue to be so. I think one of the biggest dangers is that you start to make decisions when the validation of other people
Mhm.
is more important to you than your own beliefs. Then you start to make decisions not based on what your passions are or what your values are. You start to make decisions based on what you said: perception. How will people look
Right.
at me? How will people perceive me? and you kind of lose yourself in that.
Correct. I'm trying to think back on a time where do you remember any instances where I needed like validation from, because I really can't remember, like
From me
not from you but just in general in the span of like our relationship.
in the past, well, what I would say is that I feel like, and we'll touch on that later, I feel like it is my responsibility as a partner. I would be failing you as your wife, then girlfriend, and and business partner in a secondary nature. I would be failing you if you had to ask me for validation. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like I made it a point in our relationship to
Well,
go out
correction.
of my way to validate you
Let me clarify that
and make you
question.
feel
Not
important.
with
Mhm,
you, not with
mhm,
you for sure. I
mhm.
mean, just in general, were there any like toxic things that I did that you can think of?
Well, no, no, I can't say that. You've just been, you have a humble confidence that is, yeah, it's a humble confidence that if someone gets on your wrong side, it becomes less humble. But but you carry yourself with a general humble confidence that you certainly are not seeking the validation of others. Have I seen you be hurt by maybe actions of people who maybe you had different expectations for? Yeah.
No,
But
no,
that,
all the time.
all right, but that's not the same. But validation, no, no.
Okay.
And yeah, absolutely not. But we see that show up in, and for me how that showed up in the past was
Right.
when I was seeking, especially as a young woman, when you need the validation of
Of
external people. What'd you say?
of.
Of of external people. And I mean, and even in our relationship, you know that very often in our relationship, especially in the earlier states, I would just do a little love check, like, you love me? Like, but why? No, like, give me a specific
Yes,
reason
yes,
why you love me.
yes.
Like, I hear you
Very
say you
annoying.
love me, but I want to understand why. Like, explain it so I know that it's real. You know what I'm
I just love you just because.
saying?
And
Yeah.
that wasn't enough, but yeah.
Yeah, but definitely when you're chasing a goal outside of like the whole
Mhm.
relationship side of things, when you're going after something, if that external validation means everything to you, then the challenge that kind of creeps up is that you stop taking action, right?
Right, right.
Because you're stuck in that fear that if you take this action and someone does not validate you, now you deal with all the emotions and negativity that comes with that lack of validation. So paralyzed by that fear, never feeling like you're enough. And I think the final one of the final dangers I had here written down was in adulthood. How that shows up is there are some people who constantly feel like they're being judged. And when
Okay.
I sought the external validation of people, I was always looking at people and thinking that maybe they may be judging me or inferring what they may be thinking about me. When the truth is, like, nobody's thinking about you. Like, nobody, like most
Where
people.
did we read that? It's like you think like you walk into a room and in your head the story you're telling yourself is that,
Mhm,
oh, I don't look good, something's
mhm,
off with my clothes. I
mhm.
But it's all in our head, and
It's all in
people
your head.
just dealing with what they're dealing with. They're not focused on you. So
They're not focused on you, and so that external validation will really kind of lock you in. And
mm,
one of the things I would say is that when you're going after something big, your childhood trauma, our childhood trauma, they really drive our issues around validation. So what we experience in childhood will determine whether we desperately need that external validation, or if we can be internally validated. And I say that because for me, I know that to work through some of my obsession with external validation and my insecurity around not being validated by outside people, what really helped me was when I started therapy in 2018.
okay.
So I started going to therapy, and I directly correlate
This is
Michael.
therapy that you dragged me to. That
Oh my
therapy.
God. I did drag you to
Forgiveness.
therapy. Yeah, but we went, and I actually went by myself first, and
Mhm.
then I invited you. I dragged you, but I invited you to therapy, and it, like, our group sessions were great, and I thought that
Mhm.
those were useful for us as well, like the ones with you and I for our relationship. But
Right.
bigger than that, my one-on-one sessions were really important for me because I was able to have a lot of conversation and communicate in an environment of accountability a lot of what I was suppressing from whatever in the past that
Right.
was impacting my ability to operate without needing the external validation of everybody. So basically, before I went to therapy, people's beliefs about me mattered more than after I went to therapy. And how therapy helped was that it allowed me to look at my past and to have honest conversation about what my role was in some of, the stories I was telling myself.
Right.
And in making those adjustments, I saw our relationship get better. I learned to deal with, even some of our conflict in our relationship. I learned
Mhm.
I became better as a business person. And yeah, I was just able to navigate a lot better because I addressed that.
Yeah, I think a lot of us we don't do that, and I think that not think I know that therapy is a taboo subject,
Mhm,
and we need to get to that place where um, we can admit that we do need help. And even if you don't need help and you just want to be a better person or like be more effective as a human being,
mhm,
because come on, I didn't think I needed therapy, but
mhm.
when I went, I was like, oh, okay, so this is not what I thought. Um,
What did you think it would be?
you're not being judged, of course. The person, your therapist is obviously completely unbiased,
Mhm,
and they're just gonna be straight up with you. And for the most part, even like the people that are in your lives and in your life and who love you,
mhm.
sometimes they're not gonna be as honest as someone who don't really know you from Adam. But
Right.
when you can hear the hard truths about yourself, it goes a long way, and it really helped. I know in terms of like the way I saw myself as a person, and then being in business with my partner. So I mean, that in itself is a completely different kettle of fish, learning how
Mhm,
to navigate your relationship and business. But what I took away from therapy, the key thing was just communication and like just the ability to create that safe space between you and your partner. Because if you can communicate it, what I was told was that my way of addressing or handling situations
mhm,
was not the best, and that it would only lead me to a regretful place. Right. So I had to be comfortable with communicating, and that's obviously that's what you should do. You
mhm,
should never try to just and this goes back to what you spoke about with childhood traumas.
mhm,
We have people very old just who
mhm.
have not addressed issues, and this is just the case. You don't address it because you don't think that people can relate to it. But again, that's all in your head. And once you get it out, and like you always say, you can't go up in there and lie to the people. You got to tell the truth.
You
You got
gotta
to
tell the
tell them.
truth.
Then they can advise you on the best way forward. So, as relates to managing your doubt and your dreams, it's not just about, oh, you got a dream and you're just gonna go for it. But it's the exact same way with a car. You can't not take care of it. You can't change the tires, change the oil, and expect that you're gonna get to point B. It's the exact same way with your dreams.
Mhm.
You got to take care of your mind and your body. We know that, and it starts with addressing some really hard things about yourself. Right?
That's
That's
I just like that. That was great. That was so spot on. That was everything. And what you said there at the end about being honest, because that for me was the best part of therapy. That I felt like, I mean, if I'm paying this money to show up here, I'm gonna tell the truth.
Yeah.
And you also, every therapist isn't going to be honest with you, because some people, therapy is very much a for-profit kind of industry
Yeah.
right now, when they got all these different things running. But you need a therapist that's not like, don't tell me poor me and give me some sad story. No, I want to understand. Like, I remember one time our therapist said something to me in a one-on-one session, and I was angry. Let me tell you, I remember leaving that and I was like, how dare she say that? Like it's I was so offended by it. But
Uh-huh.
it was a hard truth about myself. And I didn't want to see it in the moment. And when
Mhm.
I reflected, I was like, look, like these are the things that you have to address. And if you don't fix that, then you're going to be forever trying to get everybody to be on board with your idea, to be on board with your dream. You're going to forever feel unfulfilled because you're going to need everything from everybody else, as opposed
Right.
to having the skills to find it within yourself.
Yeah. And I think it's extremely important when you have someone that we're close. I mean, I won't I can
Me
be
and you.
honest with you, but I'm
Mhm.
just saying, like,
Yeah.
what did you say? What was that?
You said you and I are close.
Yeah, of
Oh
course.
yeah, we
Like,
kind
you
of
can't
close. I
expect
mean,
me to.
marriage
Of
and
course,
all.
I'll be
Yeah.
honest with you, but I mean, like, you need someone that's just gonna see you in a different light, right?
Yeah.
You're looking at me as your husband, as this person you've been in business with for all these years, and sometimes you may not want to say something in fear that you hurt my feelings or
That's
whatever
right.
else. But yeah, a
That's
therapist
that's
will tell you, even if it's not a therapist, just somebody that can
who
give
can,
you.
and we spoke about this in, was it the last episode or the one before? But that is what a therapist does, because before I would say certain things to you, I would actually have the conversation with our therapist, and I would navigate the best approach. And 9 out of 10 times,
Good to
my
know.
my initial approach to that conflict resolution, it was not going to be good. It was not going to be pretty. And I did that enough times that now, even sometimes you hear me talking, you're like, look, get to the point. I'm like, no, 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 no. I'm not just gonna get to the point. That's an old me. The new me has to
Wait. No, no,
ease.
no, no, babes. No, no. You're
Tell
still a
me.
chatterbox. You still go
I
to the
do.
moon and back to get to the
I do.
point. Let's just putting that out there.
Because I want, I know, but that's what I'm saying. Because I want to ease into it. Like, I will never, the old me would just be like, and I'm going on and on. And now this more in tune version of me is like, well, let me find the best way to frame this. And I
Yeah.
know sometimes you feel like, I don't want to be managed, but I have to communicate with you in a respectful way, because the opposite of that could create, yeah. But there's a whole, we going into all kind of marriage talk
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
We can
Yeah.
have a whole episode for on that. But the key point here is, to the topic, nobody believes, managing doubt in your dreams.
Mhm.
Um, it's natural to want external validation,
Mhm.
but learning to operate without that for a very long time is critical to success. And we spoke about the fact that in childhood, we're very much conditioned to seek that. And the lesson there should be, if you do have kids, like, give them some autonomy and allow them to make decisions and mess up and do all that,
Mhm.
and not feel like they have to do this, that, and the other. Give them some freedom. And I'll give you an example. Last, before we move on to the next part of the discussion, Ashley, back to our nieces, Ashley made a beat in GarageBand or something like that, and she was just vibing, and she put this beat together, and she was making it on FaceTime with me. And when it was done, she was like, what do you think about it, Auntie? Validation, right? And I was like, well,
Mhm.
what do you think about it? Like, what tell me more about it. Like, what were you trying to create here? What was the feeling you were trying to create? I'm not gonna teach her that you need me to tell you that your beat is good. You need me
Right.
to tell you that your song is good. You need me to tell you that you're beautiful. You got to feel that in and of yourself. And that is something that I had to learn over time.
Right.
Yeah. So,
And that really goes a long way too, and not just, well, every relationship. You, instead of, and you can hear it, when persons are seeking validation,
Oh yeah.
always 150% of the time, just be honest with them all the time,
Yeah.
even if it's ugly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's what I do, at least. I mean, I don't
Yeah.
say, I wouldn't say it's failed me, but I've gotten that
You've gotten a bit of
sometimes.
flack sometimes.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
a smidgen.
it's a smidgen,
A
but
smidgen of flack.
so
Yeah.
what say?
but
But yeah,
the second point here, so that was, why is it we chase acceptance and external validation? That's the
right.
first thing to answer. And we answered that because we were conditioned to be that way since childhood, but we have to fix it, because if we don't fix
Right.
it, it's going to mess with us long term in adulthood. But I think the bigger answer to this question, nobody believes, managing doubt in your dreams. The biggest question in all of this is, do you believe in your dream?
Right, right.
Like, do you even believe in your dream?
S-
And go ahead.
So where does believing in your own dream start? Obviously, we know that you have to have a dream,
Right.
but okay, what, like, it's not just having a dream and believing in it. Like, there are a lot of things that have to take place, or that you need as an individual to, keep you along that
Hmm.
path.
Hmm. Yeah,
Like,
well, if you have something that you're going after, believing in that, what that looks like, because and I'm still refining this list, right? This
mhm,
is my own lived experiences. I think the first thing that looks like believing in your own dream is action, is activity, because it is, I think it's called mental masturbation is the term. Mental masturbation is apparently when you, let me google it. Mental masturbation, mental masturbation description. Boom. Right. Mental masturbation
mhm,
is a term used to describe excessive or pointless mental activity that does not lead to any productive outcome. It
right,
refers to indulging in elaborate or self indulgent thinking without any practical or beneficial result. So it's basically dreaming up this dream in your head, fantasizing about this dream, which I do a lot of. I
mhm,
fantasize a lot, fantasizing about this dream, talking about this dream, telling people about this dream is also a form of
yep.
mental masturbation, because apparently when you tell someone your dream, it gives you like a dopamine hit or something like that. I'm not the science person. That's
Right,
usually
but it's also supposed to keep you accountable. Like, it's like social accountability. But
right.
yeah,
But a
it's
lot of people just use it just to
just a
to
talk.
feel good about themselves, to
Exactly.
talk and say, I have this thing. And so that is not believing in your dream, and that actually will reinforce self-doubt in the long term. We're going to talk about that. So what does self-belief look like? Step 1, I would say, is action. It's activity, and being prepared and willing to do that for an extended period of time without the results.
Right.
When I was a lot younger, I remember taking not as much action as I needed to take, and kind of feeling lost. And even in the past 8 months, I
Mhm.
remember like having like a few weeks there where I felt like I just felt off. And I remember telling you, Gino, I felt off because I wasn't taking enough action. You
Right.
know, if if you want to attack self-doubt, if you want to build up your self-belief, you have to take action, and you have to have a bias towards action, like a crazy level of action, because when you take a lot of action, not only does it build your momentum, whether you're winning or losing, it gets the reps in, it builds your momentum, and taking action also builds your confidence. It builds your it even if you're not like winning, like going to the gym as an example, I prefer did you just snort?
Yeah. You see what I have to deal with?
But I'm just making sure you were like, so Gino knows I don't like going to the gym. I prefer to play sports or go for a hike, but I gotta go to the gym and lift weights and all that. Great. The more I do it, the more I believe I can do it. When I
Mhm.
stop, when I have any downtime or anything like that, immediately I start to doubt myself, and I start to doubt, like, if this is even going to work out for me. Whereas if I just take the consistent action, I get the results. Well, I'm
Right.
slowly seeing the results. Yeah.
Yeah. And another thing, I mean, other than we know you have to take action,
Mhm.
and I'm very guilty. Like even like before we started this, I was quiet. What I was doing when you were trying to talk to me, I was just in my head. You just,
Mhm.
not taking action, but focus in that in direction. I'm big on this.
Mhm.
Now, it's a combination of things to get you to your ultimate dream, your goal, of course. But
Mhm.
I'll use myself an example. I'm guilty of, okay, I'm on the path, but then, oh, this looks shiny. This looks shiny. Even though it's not too far, out of the way, I
Mhm.
still feel like this is something that I need to do. And what that does is, it over time it derails us from our ultimate goal.
Yeah.
And even 10 years of business, you heard me say something, what, a couple months ago, when I was
Mhm.
saying, hey, cybersecurity, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do
Mhm.
that. And I was just, it felt good to say it. Not that I'm not looking into it, or
Mhm.
that I'm not going to do it, but it is not what, it was not part of the plan. And so I think that it's extremely important that we're self-aware enough to know that, hey, this doesn't align with my ultimate goal.
My ultimate goal. And
Yeah.
that spot on, you're with the gems tonight, Gino, because that is one of the hardest things. I read that one time, and there was like, it was like, your success is going to be, I'm poorly paraphrasing, but it was basically saying your success is directly correlated to the quality of your no's and your
Ah,
yeses.
yeah, yeah.
And basically learning to say no. And that has been hard for me,
Hmm.
because one, I'm a believer. I'm a natural believer. You come to me with a dream tomorrow, let we
Yes.
go. How we doing
Oh,
this thing, right? We up the road. And
yep.
I've been guilty of just completely going off course and saying, well, we could try to. No, it's not. And so in the past 12 months, we have made some very hard decisions to say, hey, yes, we're doing well, we're doing great with the business, but we have to be even more focused,
Yep.
because over time, without that focus, without that direction, and constantly being self-aware and going back and knowing when you're off the path, is going to be problematic for you, and you're not going to see the results, the grand results that you're going after, and then you're going to start to doubt yourself, and you're
and
going to
and
start to
you
doubt your
you
dream.
you need to have it in you to be able to say, hey, I am not where I'm not, this isn't the direction I should be heading in.
Mhm.
Because I know, like I said, like you said, we get very excited about ideas and we move
We
fast.
do.
We move fast.
Yeah.
So
Let's
you
go.
you gotta
We
you
love to
gotta
work.
know within yourself, and somebody gotta speak up. Somebody gotta say, hey, this
This don't
isn't,
make no sense.
this don't make no sense. And Taylor, I think that you've been, like when we were in Vegas and we came up with that idea again, we moved fast and we
Yeah.
were done,
You were mocking
developing a
shit up.
prototype, marketing shit up,
I was like, my guy.
and
This-
and and I remember thinking, and we had this conversation 2 days after, and you said, and I was like, why didn't this mofo say that in the moment? Right?
Mhm.
She just let me do all of this, but I know I was excited, I was in it. You're not gonna take
That's a
away
part
that
of me
energy from me, right? That's a
validating you
part of
as
it.
your
But
wife. Yeah.
then I noticed, like, you had the conversation, and I realized what you were saying is, hey, this isn't the right time to push on this right now.
Right.
And I appreciated that. You know that I'm gonna be on a high, and then you let me level off. And
Hmm.
that's also important, right? But
Yeah.
what can happen is that the two of you, or whoever it is, everybody's on a high, and there's no one looking at, or trying to
The
be realistic
direction
about this thing. Yeah.
is that because to not is like you on a boat, you sailing where you got to have a captain, or even if
Compass.
y'all are alternating as in terms of driving a boat, it's not even about being a captain. Like, somebody got to be driving the boat at all times.
Hmm.
So if I'm off on a tangent, and I go down hole, I go down rabbit holes, like, and I just burrow, right?
Yeah.
But
Alice can't find you for sure.
but then you bring me back, and hey, this is
And you
you
don't
have,
like that, sweetheart. You despise that.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Why is that though?
What is what?
Why don't you like when I stop you from going down those rabbit holes?
I mean, nobody likes to be halted in their tracks in the moment. I mean, that's not a thing, but I appreciate it all the time, and that's what I, and we'll get to that later in the
Yeah.
conversation. But that's one of the things I really appreciate about our relationship. The
Right.
third thing in terms of self belief and developing that for yourself, because the key
Mhm.
takeaway we want you to get here, guys, is that nobody believes in your dream. Nobody has to believe in your dream. You have to be your biggest fan,
Right.
and you have to show up for yourself every day. And the third way you show up for yourself, we started with taking action, having a bias to action, having focus and direction. So being self-aware to reflect on your direction. And if you're going off track, there are going to be a million ideas coming at you, especially when you start to win, when you start to see success, there are going to be all sorts of opportunities, knowing when to say, I'm good.
Yep.
Respect, I'm good. The third one is accountability and ownership.
Hmm.
And this, for me, is, if someone, a lot of people ask me, well, how have y'all been able to do such and such and that with the business? I'm like, yo, for me, the buck always stops with me.
Here we
For
go.
me, I'm going on a rabbit hole.
No, no, no. But I'm glad this is your point. I'm glad this is your point
Why
because
are
you're
you glad
big
to
on
see my
this.
point?
And I can't wait to get to my point because
Okay.
I feel like they match our personality styles. So that's good.
Yeah, but if this is your dream, like, nobody, it's not anybody's responsibility, first of all, to believe in your dream, A, and B, if something goes off with your plan or whatever it is,
Hmm.
you can't look at external things. Own that.
Yep.
And even if something external played a role, own your part in that, because
Find
there's
the part.
always
Right.
something you
Yep.
could do differently. And I find that one of the things that really contributes to self-doubt is that people transfer the responsibility
Hmm.
for their success to other people. They put
Good
that
stuff.
power in other people's hands by reinforcing these ideas that are not accountable, reinforcing these ideas that someone else made it so that they couldn't get an opportunity. Someone else made it so that they didn't get this job. Someone else made it so that they didn't make the team. Instead of looking at themselves and saying, "Hey, what could I have done differently?" Because if someone else made that and chopped
Hmm.
you off at the knees, then guess what? In your mind, what you're telling, not in your mind, what you are directly telling yourself is that I do not have control. I do not have power. I have no say in what happens in my life. And if that mindset is not one that will foster self-doubt, I don't know what will foster self-doubt more than that. That
Right.
is one of the biggest things I see in people who doubt themselves, is that they find everybody else to blame for their circumstance.
Correct.
And it takes a next level. For me, I've not always been an accountable person, but from it became very
Whew.
easy. It became,
When?
when what?
Because I know. Sorry, I'll
No,
let
no,
you
go ahead.
finish your point. I'll let you. Okay. Well, I know that coming into this relationship, I was like, what is accountability? I mean, I heard of it before, but I was like, not in the context of the power that it gives you for owning up to things that you don't necessarily have control over. Because I was like, that don't make no sense. You're
Mhm.
stupid. Like, why would I be accountable for something that I don't have control over? But it's not that you were saying that it has to be something you have control over, but growth takes place when you can find that speck of whatever it is you did
Something
wrong
to
to
fix.
improve on something that you can
That's
improve
facts.
on. And 99% of the time, well, in my own experience, there is
Mhm.
always something to fix and improve
There's
on.
always something to fix. And so if something goes wrong, I have done this, and there's not one teammate, employee that has ever worked in our business that can ever say that I to a client threw them under the bus. I will always fall on my sword. I
Mhm.
will always take the rap because and because that's just the day I realize, well, wait, if if it's my fault, then I have the power.
Yeah.
And if I have the power, then I can make a different decision and create a different outcome. There's nothing more, nothing will give you self-confidence like knowing your actions will produce your outcomes. And even when something else happens based on some other stuff, there's still something you could change in a moment. And if you take corrective action, you can fix your future. But when people are not accountable, essentially it's saying it's throwing up your hands. I have no power. And what you're then doing is putting your entire life in the hands of somebody else or something else. And that is a dangerous way to live.
Right.
Yeah. You're excited about your point.
Yeah, I know. I was just seeing the thing flashing on
Yeah.
your end. But okay, all right, yeah. Something that's great point here, Tahira. And to add to that, I would say even this week, and this is
Mhm.
what most people, even myself at that point in time, until I calmed down and I could think clearly. Nobody trying to hear that shit. Nobody trying to be accountable. Like, why? Nobody wants to be blamed for something. It's not a good feeling. So you know what? Most people just don't
They
like
run from accountability.
exactly. They run from it. But even I won't go into all the details, but we had a very tough conversation this week about the exact same thing. The
Yeah,
buck stops with you.
it does. You
And
didn't like hearing that.
I mean,
I know my
in
delivery has
that
been
time, I
terrible.
mean, but I've been hearing it all my life. We're in business, like, but this time, I like you gotta get it because I feel like I say I get it, but then I don't really get it in the end.
Mhm,
But and what this looks like, guys, is if you know what a frame is, the ultimate frame is the moral frame. For example, if a cop pulls you over, what you're gonna say? And let's say you were driving drunk or you have a busted tail light,
mhm.
there's an obvious
Infraction.
infraction. What you're gonna say? The frame in that instance is the law, right? The,
Mhm.
the law is the moral
Broke the
frame.
law.
What you're gonna tell the cop?
Mhm.
It's the exact same thing with being accountable. When there's something that you could have done better,
Mhm.
that is the moral frame right there.
Mhm.
And because there's always something that you can do better.
Yep.
And once you get to terms with that and quickly and just not take it personally and put your ego aside. And this is me practicing, guys, by the way, because
Mhm.
I based on our comments. And look at you smiling. Why are you smiling? Why are you smiling?
You're so handsome. I'm
It's
just I'm
okay,
just
thank you.
looking at
Yeah, I know that's not what it is. But once you can put your ego aside and not show it on your face,
Mhm.
then that's when you know that you're ready for everything just because of that power that you then transfer back to yourself.
And let me say this, that's exactly it. And let me just say this last thing on that, Gino. It really comes down to, do you actually believe in your dream?
Right.
Because if you deeply believe that this dream that you have is possible and you are going to and you commit to doing what it takes to make it a reality, then accountability is very easy
Yeah.
because you will know that there's no finish line, there's no box that that of oh, this is only what I'm responsible for. No, you're responsible for all of it.
All of
And
it.
so
Right.
once you determine that, that's how I look at it. I'm like, look, I told you that. I said, this is the life we signed up for.
Yeah.
Like this is what it's gonna be. And we can choose to be upset about certain things now,
Mhm.
or we can just like accept it and fix what we can fix and keep it pushing because you
Right.
understand is what's going to happen. But a lot of people, what they do is they say, oh, yeah, no, it's on me, it's on me. But it's kind of like a reverse psychology kind of mind,
Yep. Yep. Yep.
where
Yep.
you're trying to be like, nah, my bad. Like, no, that's not what you mean. Like, because if you were accountable, you would be really looking at yourself and you'd be like, Nah,
Right.
I could do
And your
different.
tone and your body language says it all. So
Would say something
you
different. That's
know
right.
when it's not, everything's on me compared to
Yeah.
it's really on me.
Real accountability is it's painful at times.
All the time, Tahira. I have never, ever been in a situation where I had to be accountable for everything and it wasn't just like
Yeah,
just a bunch of knives just digging into you. Like, yeah,
that's
never.
right.
But yeah, moving on to the fourth point.
Hmm.
I'll take this one, patience, because right now this is something that I'm to be honest with you guys,
Hmm.
not struggling, but I'm dealing with it. And it's being patient with the outcome of all the situations, being patient with trusting the process, having faith and believing in the purpose that you were created for, right? And that knowing that everything in life happens for a reason. As a CTO, I'm dealing with a lot of tech projects right now, and I can be honest with you guys, I can't sleep. I
Yeah.
can't sleep, but you know why I can't sleep, and it's not because of anxiety. It's because I'm impatient. I don't. I'm not trusting and being patient. I'm not trusting in the process in the way I need to be. And the moment I realized that, I slept well today, last night, no
Mhm,
anxiety. But why was that? It was because back to the whole, managing doubt and
mhm.
your dreams. I managed doubt by being patient and trusting in the process.
Do you thank you for sharing that, Gino. Do you want to, because you said a lot and I know you skipped some of it. I'm not sure if you want to go, or you want go into some of that, just with some of what you would have experienced this week, with, you know, your inability to sleep and all of that, and just what that looked like for you, and just a highlight of, and if you don't, then we can
Right.
cover
Well,
some
well,
other.
well. I can do it because it covers all 4 points that we just
Mhm,
discussed.
mhm.
It's action, not taking action,
Well,
inaction.
well, before you say the point, say what was happening.
Right. So what was happening? You mean in terms of not being able to sleep,
Yeah,
being twisting and turning, and you having to sing and make tea and all
yeah.
that other nonsense?
I mean, you
Okay,
didn't. Yeah,
it's
I
not
mean, but
nonsense,
but yeah,
but yeah,
you are.
it's
Mhm,
I couldn't sleep. Tahira was up multiple nights just trying to, she couldn't. She's on not WebMD, but she's trying to find remedies, and um,
non
she,
pills. Like we're not into
yeah,
that pill
yeah,
stuff.
but um, all it took was a conversation, and we know that it's usually if you're not when you know you're not doing what you're supposed to do. I didn't feel like I was doing that, but you're not on it. People don't really understand like what it takes, especially like when you're managing a project.
Mhm,
You have to be relentless, like a lion who hasn't eaten in 5 days. Like
mhm,
that is what it has to be, and not that, or you're saying you're managing a project, you're checking in daily, but like, and you have a timeline, but there are some things that you're just not doing properly all the time. A
mhm,
successful project or the management of
mhm,
successfully managing a project, it's being maniacal. It's just having all of your T's crossed and your I's dotted.
mhm,
And I knew that the reason why I couldn't sleep is that because something was not being handled somewhere.
mhm,
And to one of these points here, there was a focus, there was action, but there wasn't accountability.
mhm,
And because I wasn't accountable, I could not see the actions or the role that I played in where we were on this project.
mhm,
And as soon as that came to light, and this is what we spoke about earlier, where someone who could be objective and babes, you're the ultimate, not a hype person, but you're going to be honest as well as it
mhm.
relates to things to the business because shit, we're in this together. And if it
Right,
affects me, it obviously affects you.
right.
And so what was happening, guys, was that I was not being accountable for an aspect of the project, and I was placing blame on a
Elsewhere.
specific part,
Yeah.
right, elsewhere. And that's where the whole conversation about with the buck stops with you came about, because if you know that this is your dream, you know you're trying to build a unicorn. Like, you think that when you start to build some of the projects that you have, like in a pipeline that you want to build out, you think that this is it. This is nothing compared to what you
It's
have
a
to deal with.
joke.
For sure, this is a joke.
Yeah.
And once you understand that you have to control every aspect of it, then that gives you all the power. And I wasn't controlling every aspect
Yeah.
of it. And so that's where the anxiety came in. And how patience relates to this is, I just wanted things to be done my way. Like I tell you all the time, if I could clone myself, I'd clone 50 of me.
Boy, let me tell you. Let me tell you. Boy, let me tell you. I'd be I'd be somewhere. Sorry, I don't know where I'd be
Right.
right now, but I wouldn't be here. Y'all
But
wouldn't even see me on this podcast if we had
right.
50
But
Genos.
being once I realized that, hey, look, being patient in every process, that's also powerful, because by doing that, you and having that clarity just from that patience, you're then able to manage the people that you need to execute on some of these things,
Mhm.
and manage yourself, because you're being patient with yourself.
Yep.
So
And let me say this, Gino. So thank you for sharing that, and your vulnerability in some of those moments. I'll just say that first of all, I don't know anybody that works as hard as you. Like,
oh
excuse,
shucks.
no, I'm just saying I don't, right? You go hard and you have an obsession with excellence. And so I'm saying that to
Mhm.
just contextualize the reality that even like every new level is going to require a different version of you,
Right.
and even as excellent as you are, even as we progress towards our dreams and as we're getting closer to some of them, like you still have to double back and reflect, because
Yep.
these things will still challenge you. And it's not to say that they aren't going to challenge you, but it's like being able to correct, it's being able to take the action, the corrective action, to get back on track, because the doubt is going to creep in. It's natural,
Yep.
and you have to, as an individual, we have to, as individuals, have the capacity to identify what's happening and self-correct.
Correct.
And it's something that I have to, like, I talk to myself all day every day, and I literally have to be having conversations with myself. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
because like life is going to happen, so yeah, the takeaway there, guys, is you have to be your own biggest fan. We have to be our own biggest fans, and we have to show up every day for ourselves and our dreams. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to move on to the next section,
Mm-hmm.
if that's okay with you.
Yeah.
And it's an interesting question. I'm using the word interesting, but let me say it's a dicey question. And the question is it enough if only you believe in you? Because I just said
Ooh.
above, you got to be your own biggest fan.
Yeah.
Is it enough to only believe in yourself?
To be honest, babes, even like tonight, like,
Mhm.
I it's hard for
You're
me to
exhausted.
sleep, exhausted. Sometimes, like, even it's for a split second,
Mhm.
you're like, is this what I really want? But yes, you have to be your biggest fan. But to answer your question, you do need that outside support, even if it's just a little bit to sprinkle on top of yours. You do need it,
Right. And
and in
and
my
so that's
case,
where
it's you. Yeah.
and so that's where we said environment matters.
Yeah.
Who you spend a lot of time with will either reinforce your belief in yourself. Like I
Hmm.
told you, I believe that it is my responsibility to ensure that my man always feels like a champion. Always, even if I have to, even when I'm holding you accountable, I'm saying, hey, this is ABC XYZ, but hey, but it's because you the boss. Like you know how I do it. But I'm
Yeah, I
just
know.
saying,
I know.
but who you spend that time with, who you spend the most time with matters.
Yeah.
And I think the first part of this conversation is this: understand. First of all,
Mhm.
environment matters. We've
Yep.
heard the famous quote by Jim Rohn, you are the product of the five people you spend the most time with. But it's just what it is. If you sit, I was looking at Cody Sanchez today. She said, if you sit next to a high performer, your performance will improve.
Yeah.
If you sit next to a low performer, your performance will diminish. Our
Yeah.
parents tell us from young, you are the company you keep.
Birds of a
That's
feather
just what
flock
it is.
together. Right.
Environment matters. But what's important to understand, even in a conversation around environment matters, is that first and foremost, most people don't even believe in themselves. That's not a disrespect thing. That's just the facts. Most people do not believe in themselves for all the reasons that we listed above.
Mhm.
And so expecting people you are around to just automatically believe in you is like asking them to pour from an empty cup,
Right.
right? Because they don't have it in them. Like they don't see it.
And I'm not going to defend that point. And you see, this is you see it. I already started that sentence wrong. Until I was exposed to this kind of mindset, I didn't think like like nobody want to hear that to hero. Like nobody trying to hear that for sure. And this goes back to finding that safe space. And when you think of people not believing in themselves, first thing you gotta ask yourself is why is that? And I'm sure we can go down a whole rabbit hole with this. Childhood trauma, it's something that somebody said, just not having that confidence. But you're right. It starts with, if you can just get past that, just believing in your own dream, then I think you're, for the most part, like you've already
Right.
got a head start.
You're going to have a head start. And so environment matters. And though most people don't believe in themselves, there are some people that I would personally argue you need to believe in you. And these are the people
Mhm.
you spend the most time with. This could be your spouse, your core circle, people. If you have a business, people you need to invest in your business. If you're working within a company, people you need to sign off on a promotion or to elevate you, to send projects your way, whatever it is. You still need, if you're selling something, you need people to believe that the like Apple needs us to believe that the phone that they sell us is going to work. It's going
Yeah.
to work, and it's going to, so you need people to believe in you. And I think this is an important point to the conversation about, hey, like this is a point that I only got as I got older, and it is that groupthink is real,
Mhm.
right? So believing in yourself is actually the first step to getting other people to believe in you. Even
Right.
if they don't
Good.
believe in themselves, if you believe in yourself and you overwhelmingly demonstrate a high level of belief in yourself and take an extreme level of action, and you are able to persevere through the moments where you maybe are failing and you're not seeing
Mhm.
results, and you get to start to see some wins, eventually some people, I'm not saying everybody, but some people will start to believe. And if you double down, then those people will serve as basically ambassadors for
Right.
your legitimacy to other people, and over time more people will believe in you. And it's not to say that you need that, but it's very useful if you're trying to grow your business, if you're trying to get an investor, if you need somebody to buy your product or service, if you're trying to get higher up in the org chart, or you
Right.
want to raise or a promotion, you
Yeah.
need people to believe that you're about it.
Great point. And I'll play devil's advocate here.
Mhm.
You only need one person to start off with, and then
That's
is
right.
the rest is just like a domino effect. For me, it's you. You need the person that you spend most of your time with to believe in you. At
That's right.
least that person, just one, just one.
Mhm.
It starts with one, and then from there, everything else that you spoke about with the other people that you meet and stuff, to
Mhm.
then lay it on, and then create that community. But
Yeah.
for sure, you need to have at least one person
Yeah.
other than yourself.
Yeah. And for, like, I think the takeaway from this section, is it enough to only believe in yourself? No. uh don't, no, and yes. So it's like is a weird answer,
It,
because
Delicate balance.
It's a delicate balance because people generally do not believe in themselves and they don't generally dream very big. But if that is you, people are also looking for external cues from others that you are someone to believe in. So if
Yep.
you are going after something, people need external cues from, like you said, even if it's just one person initially to that says, hey, you are someone to believe in. That dream is worth believing in, and believing in yourself sends the most powerful message up front that you are someone worth believing in. It's very useful in a lot of aspects of development. I can tell you from my own self,
Mhm.
when even before you and I were in business, when I moved back to Angola, I was up and down with a broken iPad making presentations, and I can tell you the people
Mhm.
that signed up to do business with me, like, they didn't sign up because they couldn't go and pay someone else, but I presented such an overwhelming level of confidence in
That's right.
myself and in my ability that you just want to bet on this person. And
Yep.
so in terms of sending the right cues to the environment, because the topic, nobody believes in me, managing doubt in your dreams,
Mhm.
if you do need the support or the belief of external parties to legitimately move your stuff forward, because we all need, champions, then there are a couple things you can do. And the first is taking a lot of action, taking an enormous amount of action. The second is soliciting champions and mentors, so getting people on board in believing in you. And how you do that is you deliver a lot of value to people, you take a lot of action. Cody was saying it today. Gino, you
Yep.
always talk about the
And
imaginary
you're right.
growth.
And if you guys really need like a serious dose of what that looks like,
Mhm,
the level of confidence that you need
mhm.
for people to believe in you, watch Inventing Anna. Is that what it's called? Inventing or
Oh
Reinventing
God,
Anna?
inventing Anna.
Inventing
What
Anna.
a scammer. Let me tell
Hey,
you.
don't spoil it for anyone, but that is the level of confidence that you need in order to manage your doubt and achieve your dreams.
Yeah, you gotta. And I took a note of that earlier up. Like, delusion can be useful. Like, I personally believe that some of the stuff that we have been working on, Gino, and that even create ads rolling out this week, if we had told someone 5 years ago that this was what we were going to be doing and this is how it was going to happen, they'd be like, get the hell out of here. You're not going to be able to serve no ad to Roku. No, you're not. To Apple TV. No, you're not. If we had said that, they look at us like we're crazy. But because in our minds, like, we don't place limitations on anything, on any dream. We are somewhat delusional and in what we're going after, but not in a negative way, but just like there's no limits.
Right.
And Anna was for sure, like, Anna had me sold. But go watch that, Inventing Anna on Netflix.
Mhm.
It is something. I was waiting for that wire to come. Let me tell you, I was like, no, she got the money. She
Yeah.
got the money. But the third thing is how to send the right signals to the environment that your dreams are worth believing in. Surround yourself with winners.
Right.
We spoke about this in the last section, and I see you have a note here, Gino. I don't know if you want to go into that.
Yeah. So Tahira put me onto this book really early up in our relationship. It's
The
the
secret.
Seven Spiritual Laws of
Oh,
Success,
so yeah, yeah, yeah.
and my favorite one was the Law of Attraction.
Hmm.
And we spoke about this the other day as well, where in order for you, because we're talking about the team and like just the culture that we want to build for the company, and in order to attract the qualities that we value, you need to embody them, right?
Yeah.
And so you get a lot of that when you surround yourself with winners, because they believe in the same values as you, and they're in the same path, they're doing things in the exact same way. And
Hmm.
some of them may have a different spin on it, but what's important is that they can, and you eventually attract that because you embody it, and it starts there. You have to embody it, the same values that you want in people. You have to be that.
Yeah. And over time, you hear me saying this a lot now, Gino, but over time, like, I feel like I can spot a winner now.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm still refining the whole spectrum, but you know what a winner looks like and you know what a loser looks like. And
Yeah.
most people that speak winning, speak champion, they know. So if you're not talking that language, it's going to be very hard. I was looking at this Instagram reel, and this lady was like, it was an old reel. It was from the beginning of the year, and she basically she launched her book, right?
Yeah.
And she was showing like how she had all the packaging and what's not. Everything was set up, and the voiceover for the reel was from a book she read. I have to get it, and again, very poorly mis like quoting what was said, but
Mhm.
the premise was that when you are chasing a big dream, when you have set a goal for yourself, whether it's writing that book,
Right.
making that team, building that house, starting that business, getting to that next position in your job, when you have that goal and you're working on it consistently and
Mhm.
just so diligently over time, your focus is going to get very lonely, and the whole journey is going to get lonely, and you're going to experience that doubt. But what she said was, you have to know that that period is preparation. That was the first time I heard that, like
Right.
tonight, literally. It said that period is preparation. That loneliness you feel, that is a period of preparation, that is preparing you for the new environment that you are being like positioned to be in. And so don't allow that period of loneliness to send you back to environments to get that validation and all of this, when you just have to stick that out and persevere and understand you're
So,
going to get in a new
so
space.
babes, all jokes aside, you
Mm.
saw me walking around here, just being quiet in my head, not saying anything. You knew something was wrong. So why you didn't just say this?
What do you mean?
This what you just said is
I
exactly what I was thinking about.
but I literally just learned it tonight. I couldn't Biz, I was going to share that with
You
you.
dropping the
Like, I saved
bomb,
the
but
reel.
that
I
that is so
saved the
that is
reel.
spot
I
on.
showed
That
you
is
her eating
spot
the fried
on.
chicken
That
instead
is
tonight. I
spot
just
on.
found the reel. I swear to God.
Okay, yeah, that is
I
spot on,
just found it.
guys.
I just found it. I'm gonna do better. I'm gonna do better. I'm gonna bring that to you first, and not her
Yeah,
slurping fried
yeah,
chicken.
yeah. That's
That
for
chicken look
sure.
good though. But yeah,
Yeah,
but that was powerful. That
yeah.
was that was eye opening for me, and I'm gonna get the book for us because
There we go.
I'd never heard it represented that way. That period of loneliness, when you're working consistently, when you're not seeing the results, that period is preparing you for the next level that you're going to be on, and the winners you're going to be around. And so you need to use that time to prepare, not to revert to who you were and who you used to be around, which is what our closing thought is, and that is find your tribe, right?
Right,
The reality is that doing the right things, no matter how hard you work, how much consistent action you take, none of that will matter if you are around the wrong people. The
right,
wrong people will never put you in a position to win. In fact, depending on how wrong they are for you, they will only reinforce your feelings of self-doubt. So finding the right tribe and the right
mhm.
community to support you is key. And we're going to discuss
Yeah,
very quickly. We're going to do 15 minutes. We're going to be wrapping up now, but this is how we're going to wrap it up, because it's starting with your partner, right?
yep,
Because your partner can make you or break you when you got a dream.
yep.
I know you don't know the opposite. I mean,
I
that's
don't know
that's
that that's
yeah.
and that's what I
You
didn't
can't
say
speak to
because
this.
no, no, but I can speak to the good, and anyone
Okay.
that's listening that's not experiencing the good would then know what they'd have to do
Are you
to
saying that
adjust.
I'm fantastic?
Shit, you're amazing. We can't even rank you. You're unrankable.
Unranked prestige. My prestige max out. Let's go. That's a Call of
Yeah,
Duty reference,
yeah.
guys.
So like, I mean, and if it's not a partner, it starts with because everyone's situation is different. It starts with the
Mhm,
person you spend the most time with, for sure.
mhm, mhm,
If it's a parent, if it's a sibling, like it
mhm,
starts there, right?
mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
And
I
and I,
agree.
and in the last podcast episode,
Mhm.
so it's a right partner, but it's also the partner in the right space, right? So it's like a catch 22. Even if it's the right partner, but there's still not peace, or you don't feel there isn't an environment where you can discuss these things, then
Yeah. That's a because you have to we have tough conversations, and it's easier for us because our interests are completely aligned, right?
Right.
Like
But in the
literally,
moment of those tough conversations, that safe space is still needed because
right.
I ain't trying to go down all them holes with you, Alice. But
I'm Alice now. Oh my goodness.
but yeah, it's all important, guys. Yeah.
But right, yeah, the right partner will either reinforce your doubt, and I see this
Mhm.
in different relationships. They will either reinforce your self-doubt, or they will lift you up. And
Yeah.
I would just say, like, we spoke about this, so we won't go into it, but the superficial stuff, it's fun.
Yeah.
I certainly wanted a handsome partner, and but that was honestly a byproduct. You evolved to this, babes, right? So you didn't come out looking just like this, but it was like the other stuff matters, like
Yeah.
having
Yeah.
someone who
Important.
you are compatible with, and who believes, who, when you share your dream, they don't scoff. They're not sitting there like some, how there's some people who just think,
They just don't say anything. Most people won't scoff.
oh
They
God,
just keep
that's the
silent.
worst. Like,
Silence
to me,
is
that's even worse, because at least debate me. Like,
yeah.
I love a good debate,
Yeah.
but like, because that challenges me. You challenge my perspective, but no, but I also feel like there are people who feel like it is their responsibility to critique everything. So you
Mhm.
come with an idea and they're trying to pick it apart. Nah, just like you don't have to pick everything apart.
But go where you're celebrated, Tahira, then it won't have to
Go
be
and
picked
and
apart.
you gave the
And if it's nonsense, then they should, in their own right, pick it apart. But for the most
but
part, go where
but
you're
but
celebrated.
but timing is everything, because
Yeah.
when you are in a partnership, your responsibility is to ensure we are all children inside. We're the same person, the same soul, all of that.
Right.
We all need, for sure, the people that are closest to us, we need that level of validation from
We
them,
do.
for
We do.
sure,
We do.
right?
Yeah.
That can't be everything, but we need that. And so you spoke about when we were in Vegas, and you had that idea and you were passionate about it, and I see how it
We're
works.
still building it out,
We're
but
still building
it's
it.
not
And I see
the
how it
right
works
time
for
right
the
now. But
project. I see how it works for that particular platform 6, 7, 8 months from now. But
yeah,
in that moment, when you were dreaming about it and you were, sketching and designing and putting it all together, it would have been irresponsible for me to just come and be like, yo, this ain't the time for, like, no, like,
yeah,
you
yeah,
don't do
yeah.
that.
Right,
I
right.
allow you to dream, to play it
Yeah,
out. And
that's
then when the
important.
time is right, when you've settled, then we can say, okay, this is a great idea. We're going to push on this. Maybe that's just having tact. And the right partner will have that tact, because their objective is not to be right. Their objective is to support you and to support your partnership and create an environment where together you guys can win and you can fulfill whatever dreams you have individually, or collectively. But you can't just be somebody that's trying to just be right. I don't care about being right. I care about us being good. You know what I'm saying?
Right, correct.
Right. The second one is
Friends.
friends.
Yay!
Yeah, find your tribe of
But
friends.
yeah, the right circle matters, guys.
Mhm.
I'm very thankful that I have a group of friends who, I mean, and the list, I've refined it over years, but it's where I'm comfortable with now. And the saying, there's only what, I can't remember the number, but there's a limited amount of relationships that you can work on in your
Yeah.
lifetime. And so you need to figure out and understand the best ones that you want to put the energy into,
Yeah.
that will lead the results over a period of time, and just stick to it.
And
But
mhm.
no, go ahead.
No, and no, and exactly that. And know that the relationships that you do choose to invest in, like, one of the benchmarks to measure it on is, one, understanding that energy is contagious.
Yeah,
So choosing friends that have good energy,
yeah.
and two, like, understand that it's very important to be around people who can be happy for you when you win. There
Hmm.
are some people who are incapable of being happy for other people, and those people do not deserve your friendship. If you're pursuing something bigger, you can
Right.
love them from a distance, but I'm not wasting no time with people who cannot be happy because they're in some. I saw that a meme said, people are in secret competition. I'm in a competition with myself, nobody else.
Yep,
And
yep, yep.
but some people can't be happy for you. And those are the last people that you
Yep.
need as friends. But to the point of friendship as a
No,
tribe,
we're gonna come back to that
yeah,
because
to the point of friendship as a tribe, I will say that like with my friends are doing very different things, but there's some of my friends in particular who they are so passionate and driven in their space, and they are so committed to excellence that I feel like our friendship has also created a standard, a benchmark that says, well, we're all growing and climbing in our careers.
it's
Like,
all of them. It's all of them for
yeah,
sure. Yeah.
it's not my, I'm not gonna be the one to be at the bottom of the totem. Like put me out the friend group if I'm
Right.
underachieving, because in this friend circle we are moving forward and we're living the best version of our lives, and you need people around you like that.
You do. You do.
Hmm.
And what I would say, as relates to energy being contagious,
Hmm.
as relates to, finding your tribe.
Hmm.
This may sound weird,
Hmm.
and I hope that you can get it,
Okay.
but you will never be
Hmm.
successful or experience any modicum of success
Hmm.
if you can't be happy for people when they're successful.
That's
And
facts.
and it's like the easiest thing to do. Like, and I do it on social media all the time, where
Hmm.
like I tell you, like it's I love women. Just putting that
A
disclaimer.
man crush.
But I got a man crush. Jordan Bentley. I saw him on. I mean, he was cool. He
Sweet
was.
life.
I saw him on HBO, The Sweet Life. But I started following him when he had a few followers and stuff. But I have seen his growth, and just like he's just on it. When we talk about inspiring people to believe in you, that is him.
Hmm.
Where he's building his fashion brand, his and it's all
I
in
plan.
anime and stuff as well, right?
Hmm.
But just his company, yes, Hypeland is what it's called.
Hmm.
And if you saw where he started to where he is now, I'm extremely proud, and like I am so happy for him, and I believe in myself. I believe that
Hmm.
just by s- send in a comment. I like it, and it don't take much. Don't
It's
just
small.
don't scroll past other people's successes, guys, because you'll be in a place
Yo.
one there where you'll need that validation and that support. We're talking about it right now, and in order for you, and we spoke about the law of attraction. That's all part of it. Giving back that energy, sending it their way when you're doing well, it'll come back. You gotta believe in that. And if you can be successful when other people are I mean, if you can't be happy for when other people are winning and when they're successful, then you can't expect for that same energy to be, you know, reciprocated back to you. Like, it will never work that way. And it doesn't take that much out of you, no effort at all, to like, to share a comment, to say, hey man, I like what you're doing, keep it up. It
Hmm.
doesn't,
It does.
because one day you'll be in that situation and you'll need somebody to do it for you.
That's facts. That's why you my man.
Oh,
I just love that whole perspective. That was just, it was so spot on. We can't, and that goes back to the law of giving in the seven spiritual laws of success.
mhm.
You have to put into the universe what it is you want back. Nobody
Yep,
believes in your dream. Do you believe in anybody else's dream? Do you support anybody else's dream? Do you reinforce anybody else's doubt?
that's true.
Like, do you lift people? Like, do you make people believe that things are possible? Because a lot of times we are looking for things out of other people that we are not willing to give to them. And I love what you said, Gino. Don't scroll past other people's successes. A lot of people lurk on social media
Mhm.
in jealousy and all the rest of it. And it's just like, don't do it.
Yeah.
It's so, like, you can be so much better and you can experience so much better if you just share a love. You
Yep.
know what I'm saying? Just share the love and believe. And the final thing we had here was just colleagues and business associates in terms of your tribe. If it is you're going into, if you're in an organization, if you're in a business and you're trying to climb the corporate ladder, find your tribe within that business. Find the people that are excelling, not the workers who are trying to clock in and clock out on the dot and not work an extra hour, not give an extra bit of effort, give the bare minimum, and try to extract as much value out of the business as possible without doing work. Don't Those aren't the people you want to be around.
Right,
Because
right.
what a lot of times what happens is people, every high performer that I know, they give not even 10x,
And
20x
yep,
effort.
yep,
Yes, and they give crazy effort. And a lot of people, I have heard and seen a lot of people look at them and they're wondering, why are they climbing so fast in their careers? Why? Because they're doing what you're not doing. You know what I'm
yep,
saying? And they're putting themselves around people who are coaching them into how it is you win. But you got to find your tribe, and you can't think that you're going to hang around losers and win. You can't think that you're going to hang around doubters and people who not only don't believe but who ridicule people who believe. You can't hang around those types of people and and think that someone is going to support your dream. You can't make fun of people's dreams and think that someone is going to be like, yeah, I'm going to support your dream.
yep,
And I think that's an important point as we prepare to close.
yeah. And not and not even I don't think anyone would outright say, "Yo, I don't support your dream,"
Mhm.
but you can tell, like,
Mhm.
if there's no excitement, if they don't emote, they're silent. You know who they are. But as it relates to,
Mhm.
again, there's always ways to get around this, right? In terms of managing your doubts and your dreams, you find your tribe, you ensure that, the people that you're communicating with, who you're sharing all of this with,
Mhm.
they're for you. And when I say for you, 110%, you wouldn't be doing anything they wouldn't do themselves. So, I
That's
mean,
right.
yeah.
That's right. So, guys, this was a this. I love this conversation, Gino. I'll just
Yeah,
say
I
that.
think this was my favorite one, to be
This was your
honest.
favorite.
So
Like,
far.
look at
Yeah,
you.
yeah,
I thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. We had some vulnerable points here, but I think we covered the key pieces.
yeah,
Nobody believes managing doubt in your dreams, and just to quickly recap, growing up, we are very much conditioned to seek external validation, but there is danger in that, and we have to be very careful about our obsession with external validation. We have to temper that. We have to be prepared to make decisions that are independent to us and be okay with whatever the outcome is. Uh, and and be prepared to be an outlier, because that is critical for success in our dreams.
right.
The other bit is that you have to be your own biggest fan, and you have to show up every day for yourself and your dream every single day by taking action, by like Gino said, being very self-aware, having focus and direction and refining when as life evolves and as different situations pop up, being accountable and taking ownership, having patience. And then we spoke about the fact that it actually is not enough to only believe in yourself. Who you're
Right.
around matters, your environment matters. And while most people don't necessarily while most people struggle with self-doubt, the reality is there are things that you can do as an individual to
Right.
to to drive people to believe in you. And that's taking a lot of action, finding mentors and people to champion you, and surrounding yourself with winners, delivering a lot of value. And then the final thing we said was find your tribe. Find the
Yep.
right partner who will support you, who will validate you, because we definitely need that from our partner, who will not shit on your dreams and talk them down. Find the right group of friends who will inspire you and who will be happy for you, and who
Who
won't
will
be
be
in
honest and continue to motivate you.
honestly, that's right, and who
Right.
are not in secret competition with you. And find the right colleagues and business associates who have the mindset of a champion, of a winner, and who will remind you of why not only your dream is important, but why you are important and why you are valid and why you matter. So
There we
that's
go.
the episode.
Lovely. Snaps for that. Good job.
Snap. Let's go. We're done. Thank
All
you
right.
guys. We are very much looking forward to seeing you in next week's episode. Until next time, I am Tahirah,
And
your
I'm
host,
and it was great just putting you on game.
putting you on
Right.
game, sharing and sharing.
Yeah.
Thank you guys.
All right.
Bye.
See you guys. Bye.